start the recording and then I'll leave the floor to you. And
Okay.
yeah,
Shall
I'm
I
in the background if anything happens. Thanks already, and yeah, welcome, Mei.
Okay, I'll share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay.
It's just not full screen yet. Yeah, brilliant. Full screen. All right.
Okay, okay. Okay. So yeah, I'm Mei, and I'm a third-year PhD student at Media and Arts Technology at Queen Mary University of London. And I come from a computer science background, but my research is closely related to textile and fashion design disciplines. And my research topic is to look at how to better support fashion and textile designers in designing with interactive technology. And my recent research further investigated how to integrate interactive technology concepts with material expertise in fashion and textile design education. While I was conducting the previous research last year, I was also a visiting lecturer in textile design program at Royal College of Art, and my studies became a part of their teaching content. So I taught e-textile to their students while also collecting data for my study. And since this January, I've been teaching e-textile to a group of students in graduate diploma textile design.
Sorry, mate. We lost the presentation.
Sorry?
The presentation is not up anymore.
Oh, okay, okay.
We can only see your video.
I see. Let me share again. Can you see it?
Yes, now we can see it.
And how about now?
Yeah.
Is that full screen?
Yeah, it does work. I don't know, you might have pressed like some button and then you just like gone out of it, but it's fine. We can see it now. Oh no, now you're off again.
Okay. Sorry.
That's okay, don't worry.
We do like this?
Yeah, it works, yes.
Okay. Yeah, so this is about my introduction, and also today I think it's worth to introduce my previous work to you guys, and also introducing some basic knowledge of interactive technology. And this will give you guys a better insight of the potential of using interactive technology in your practice. And if you are interested, you are welcome to sign up to my workshop later this month. So at first, I will talk about the background of my research, also explain some terms related to interactive technology, and then I will talk about the methodology and findings of my recent two studies conducted in fashion and textile design program. And also I will briefly talk about the future study plans and which you might be interested in participating. So my research is based in the field of human-computer interaction, and the keywords related to my work are human-computer interaction, that's HCI, and physical computing, and e-textiles, wearable computing, construction kits, embedded interactive system, and creativity support. So what is human-computer interaction? Human-computer interaction is a study of how people interact with computers and to evaluate how successful is the interaction with human beings. And just like its name, HCI consists of three parts: the user, the computer itself, and the ways they work together. I think the goal of the HCI is to bring machine as close to human as possible, and it's to make the device more convenient for user to manipulate. And the goal is to make device just like a part of our body, and we can interact more naturally with the electronics. For example, the revolution of Apple, they use Face ID to unlock iPhone, and it's to make the process of unlocking more convenient compared with inputting password every time. And there are plenty of topics and applications in HCI. For example, the graphic user interfaces. This is a type of interface that allows users to interact with electronic devices through visual indicator representations, providing the users the capability to intuitively operate computers and other electronic devices through the direct manipulation of graphical icons such as buttons, scroll bars, windows, tabs, menus, cursors, and mouse pointing devices. And another example is VR, virtual reality, and it provides immersive experience to users. Like VR changes your views when you move your head. This is interaction. And also natural language user interface. You can control some of your smart devices through this interface. For example, Siri in Apple and Amazon Alexa. And this natural language user interface is also in the field of artificial intelligence. And you may realize the example we discussed all have input and output loop. And there is a stage to achieve a successful interaction. At first stage, the user communicate their intention to technology, to let the technology, let the computer to perceive our command. Like you maybe control the cursor through the trackpad or directly speak to Siri. This is a way of communication. And then the devices receive your command and they interpret and act on this information through its programming. Then the computer represents its relevant working and results to an output device, and people perceive these representations and act accordingly. And this is like, for example, if you let Siri to set up an alarm at 7 o'clock, then Siri set the alarm and told you, I've turned on your 7 a.m. o'clock alarm. Like this is the output you receive from the device. So again, HCI is to research design methodology for interaction between technology and people. And the goal is to bring technology as close to human as possible. What is physical computing? It is building interactive systems that can sense or respond to the world around them, like human and environment. And commonly, physical computing describes projects that uses sensors and microcontrollers, like you may know Arduino, and this is a kind of microcontroller, and use this to process input and control actuators. And this is what we are going to explore. We will build interactive system using a microcontroller, and we will also use sensors to enable the system to sense the information from human or from environment. Then the system will process the information collected through sensor and then produce the output through actuators. So to achieve the interactive system on textiles or garments, we need a medium to introduce devices on textiles. So we'll be using electronic textiles to structure the circuit. And e-textiles are electrical circuitry made of conductive threads and or fabric. The picture shows the structure of woven conductive fabric. You can see it consists of polyester yarns and also twisted with copper thread. And copper is conductive. Then when it's structured into fabric, then the entire fabric became conductive and can be used in e-textile project. The conductive fabrics and thread are important mediums to introduce hard devices to more flexible and textured materials. They made it possible to make more pervasive devices truly wearable. Lots of fashion and textile designers are becoming interested in e-textiles because it's not only can give their project with functionality, but also enhancing aesthetics and enhancing interaction between people and the design. And integrating computer science, electrical engineering, textile design, and fashion design, e-textile cross unusual boundaries, appeal to a broad spectrum of people, and provide novel opportunities for creative experimentation, both in engineering and design. And here we will discuss some e-textile projects. And while watching these videos, you can guess what does the project sense and what output does the project trigger, and what is the relation between the sensing and output. And the first one is Hammock by Mac Fashion Lab, and you can have a look on this.
Und Ricardo ist vom PopCo Lab und war zuständig für die technische Umsetzung. PopCo Lab und René. René, are you here? René, this is René right there.
So can anyone guess what is the input and what is the output of this project? Maybe you can type in the...
Yeah, I just wanted to say, just type it in briefly, maybe into the chat.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the input could be the weight and extension, and I will say the pressure acted on the pillow, and also the sliding the pillow on the ropes, and maybe the swing, I guess, like this. And the output is like the change of different parameters of the music. Yeah. And let's have a look on the second example. This one. This project is made by my PhD colleague, and she's Alicia, and it's about songbook in Greenwich. So what about this? Yeah, input is pressure, like pressure on the embroidery area on the map. And the output is the soundscape of the area of the map. So next. Yeah, like under the surface, it's like a capacitive sensing. Like it can sense where you touch, like which area you are touching on the map. Then it triggers the specific sound. Like if you touch a specific area on the map, then you will hear the soundscape of this location. And they recorded the soundscape actually in the area in Greenwich. Then now we've got some basic understanding to interactive technology and e-textiles. Let's get back to my study. So the idea of my study was based on the following fact. The first is more and more fashion and textile designers have shown interest in interactive technology, but there is a lack of support. And also traditional engineering teaching mode might not fit designers' learning mode. Like this is the breadboard and LED and resistor and jumper wires. This is how we learned electronic engineering, how we learned interactive technology. But this, like, how can this apply to textile? Does this make sense to textile designers? So I think there is a lack of the pedagogically aligned teaching resources for designers. And thirdly, there are smart textiles and clothing projects that are collaborated between technologists and designers, indicating textile design as central. But the role of textile designers were often marginalized. And lastly, in the communication of cross-disciplinary collaboration between designers and technologists has a low efficiency. And this may be caused by different sets of specialized language, as well as the different way of thinking behind their language. So I generated my research questions, which are: how is interactive technology currently taught in fashion and textile design programs? What are fashion and textile design students' interests and difficulties designing with interactive technology? And how to develop interactive technology educational content for designers in formal and self-directed educational settings? And how to better support cross-disciplinary collaborations between designers and technologists? So my first study was ethnographic research in fashion and textile design programs. The goal is to figure out the first two questions, and this study helped me as a researcher from computer science and electronic engineering background to be situated in the textile and fashion design disciplines, to bring myself to the field of fashion and textile design. So I conducted this study in textile and fashion design program in some higher education institutions to observe teaching activities, how their students perceive knowledge, and also have observations on student projects and had conversation with the students. These photos were took while observing the conductive printing workshop at RCA last year. They spent 2 days experimenting conductive ink on different materials and also blended with different printing stuff. Then I also interviewed some fashion graduates from RCA who had previously made projects with digital technology, And I also made a survey asking their prior experience in electronics and their preference in design materials and their preferred type of interaction. So I found typically there are two type of working modes for designers to make the interactive projects. The first one is self-learning through online resources or attending technology-related workshop. But normally, self-learning or workshop can only gain some basic or beginner level knowledge. So this mode is usually for designers at early stages of experimentation. And also for more mature projects, students like to find collaborations with technologists, and also the collaboration is more commonly required. But currently, both working modes have some problems. For self-learning, the problems are like the first, there is a lack of pedagogically aligned learning resources, like we just discussed, how to apply the knowledge learned through engineering teaching content to textile design or garment. For example, what does lighting up an LED on a breadboard mean to textile design? And secondly, it's time-consuming to learn entirely new subjects. And lastly, the unfamiliarity with technology design and affordance, like what are the available sensing and actuating technology, and what are the effects when they applied on specific design. So some designers don't know where to get started. And for the problems in collaboration, like they have different sets of terminology with technologies. Also, there is a lack of shared understanding. And also unfamiliarity with technology and unsure what can be actually achieved on their design. And also intuitive thinking was restricted to the rigorous technology. And if you have ever worked with interact technology, you may know there's a lot of restrictions. And the technology and effect maybe sometimes don't fulfill your expectations and make you feel frustrated. So these factors make designers lost their initiatives in design projects, but more have to depending on technologists. So after study one, I found out the issue that exists for textile and fashion design designers when they design the interactive technology, and also found some their design interest. So in study two, I aim to better solve the identified issues and support designers with what they think more useful to their work. So the aim is to develop interactive technology educational content for designers in formal and self-directed educational setting, and also to see how to better integrate interactive technology concepts made with material expertise in fashion and textile design education. To support this study, I developed a set of e-textile toolkits. So why e-textile? As e-textile presents digital features in different textures and material compositions, providing opportunities for creative expression in both electronic engineering and design. So it is a necessary medium for bridging interactive technology to fashion and textile disciplines. And also, toolkits lower the entry threshold for technology and playing an especially crucial role in introducing them to new audiences, And the semi-structured contents of toolkits encourage learning by doing and creative expression. And this is the e-textile toolkit I designed for my PhD study. And this is what you are going to use if you are participating in the workshop. The key part is the soft PCB. It's soft printed circuit board. And this is made by fabric and snap buttons, and it largely reduces the complex circuit users need to deal with, and allows you to simply snap the sensors to close the electrical circuit. And also the functional units are assembled into modules to also reduce the circuit complexity. And you can only attach the functional units to the PCB, the main board, to achieve the circuit in a minute. And the modularity also lower the entry threshold for designers, so you can make the circuit even if you don't have any knowledge in electronics. Also, there's online tutorial explains the principle of like 3 type of e-textile sensors, including switch sensor, pressure sensor, and potentiometer, and also have the introduction on how to use the ready-to-use sensors, such like LDR, sound detection sensor, and proximity sensor. And the sensor templates to assist the learning with sensor tutorials. And also material packs, they have a wide selection of conducting materials. This is to assist designers to have a free exploration on their personalized e-textile sensors. And when the toolkits were ready, in last year, I held a study in RCA. This happened just before the pandemic, so we had 2 days in-person workshop. And the structure is like the first part is 2-day workshop, and students make e-textile sensors following the tutorial. Then they will make their interactive textile prototypes using the toolkit. And after the workshop, students were invited to the 8-week design project, and each student took a set of toolkit with them and designing more complete interactive textile or fashion project with the toolkit. And in the process, I had the weekly one-on-one tutorial with students, and also provide them some technical support when they need. And the study was facilitated by Mei Textiles RCA, and also this was their teaching contents, so they were also marked for this module. And these pictures were took during the workshop, and this is the student was making e-textile sensors following the online tutorial. And before the workshop, we encouraged students to also bring their own design materials. And they were then encouraged to explore the conductivity of their material and find out the possibility of structuring these materials to the interfaces. And in this picture is a student testing the conductivity of her material. And she found that the zipper and also metal wire she owned have very good conductivity and can be structured into the textile interface. And the idea of this step is to encourage the student to design interface from their everyday use material to better integrating technology with their material expertise rather than using interactive technology as an additional add-on object to their design. And also, we also facilitated some conductive printing equipment. And let's have a look on what sensors they made during the workshop. This is the pressure sensor. The student twisted the conductive thread with her own the pink thread and to sew them on the net material. Then they structured into a pressure sensor using the conductive foam. And also, the student found the conductivity from the key ring and the metal wire. she then made this multi-switch e-textile sensor. And this is the switch sensor. And this is the finger coats that is crocheted with conductive yarn. So when two finger coats touch each other, the mouth on the figure will open. And this is some other example. This is stroke sensor. Also have the wearable project. So during the study, I used this methodology to collect the data, including questionnaires and field notes and interviews. And also after the workshop, students were invited to participate in the 8-week design project to develop their individual design project. And at that stage, we ask them to keep design diary throughout the process, no matter the documentation was in visual or text or sketch. And let's have a look on their design diary. This is a part of Loy Chen's design diary, and it documents the process of testing conductivity of different materials. And Janie's diary, documenting how she get along with the toolkit. And this is Jiaxi's diary, and this is the process of how she experiments with the light-dependent resistor in reaction to the UV light. And also the process of editing the code on Arduino IDE and how she assembled the final project with the toolkit. And Feiyang Zhang's documentation like this. And after the study, after the 8-week design project, I interviewed each participant, asking their feedback to the toolkit and the session in detail. And let's have a look on their design outcome. This is God Creation Project by Jiaxi. The input is through a light-dependent resistor. This is to sense the amount of UV light to trigger the motion operated by the motor embedded in the textile design. And the very clever thing about this project is that Jiaxi creates 5 different motions by only using a single rotating motor. Yeah, this is Jiaxi's project. And the second one is called Annoying Gun by Si Yingchen. And she knitted a stretch sensor and put between thumb and index finger, and it can trigger the puppet's movement. And the movement also was operated by a motor. And this one is Forbidden Eden by Fei Yang Zhang. And she made the motor into an air pump. And used the pressure sensor to trigger the air pump. And they made all of this in 8-week time. Okay. And the next one was Loy Chen's project, and he is a fashion designer and already graduated from RCA last year. She made this glove that can sense different gestures on hand. And the idea is that he thinks we can communicate to environments by the things we are wearing. So the evaluation to this studies is still in progress, but we can have a brief look into what I have evaluated. So before the workshop, all of my participants were entirely new to interactive technology, and through the workshop, they learned to make sensors, e-textile sensors, and learn the use of the toolkit to create interactive prototypes. Then they understand the basics of interactive technology in their design practice. Then in the 8-week design project, they start by searching for new ideas while also researching online resources. With the knowledge they learned through the workshop, they were able to initiate the consultation with me and guessing the type of interaction in the example projects, and also what sensors did the example project use. And so our communication is no longer vague, but very specific to the problem itself. And the communication barrier seems largely reduced. And this is a point that designer got the ability to explore interactive technology that is beyond what the toolkit can support. And they got their ability to generate their very own specific ideas, and even they proposing solutions. And in the process of experimenting, they initiate their technical needs to me. And it seems that they were controlling the design decision and also the pace of their design instead of having to rely on me to give them solutions. So my role was more like assisting them, and they are leading and determining the whole project. In the end, all of the designers successfully achieved their design goals. And these are some of the findings from the previous study. The first is starting interactive technology learning from a material perspective, resulting in a better understanding and flexible use of technical knowledge. And understanding the mechanism of interactions help designers to reach broader investigations on interactive technology. And it also goes beyond what the toolkit can provide. And being able to associate material expertise with interactive technology knowledge would improve the efficiency of the communication in interdisciplinary collaboration. So my future study is with you guys, if you're interested. And we will repeat the process of the study too. But what different is I've updated the toolkit with more functions and also have more detailed tutorials based on the evaluation to the feedback from the RCA students. And the toolkit will include all 2 functions like movement and sound playback and heat. And we learn to use the light-dependent sensor and proximity sensor, microphone, and the range of e-textile sensors. And this new version was just used by a group of students in graduate diploma textile design at Chelsea. Like they used this from April until the beginning of June, and they created very interesting project. And I think you can see them their creation on the showcase in the end of June. And so now Bing and Mei and me are planning such a workshop for you guys in the end of June. And if you are interested in what I've just showed you about the toolkit and the workshop outcome, then you are very welcome to sign up to the workshop. And this is about my talk. Thank you.
Thanks, Mei.
Thank you.
So I hope you enjoyed that. I thought it's really nice insights, obviously, into like e-textiles and seeing what's sort of possible and what you can do with it. That it's not only around like sort of using an LED, and that there's more sort of with it. And I quite enjoyed also the sound sort of on the background and your project. Did you have anyone like collaborating with you on the sounds as well? Like
I haven't. No.
Yeah. So I quite enjoyed it. It was quite nice. Like a background sort of working with it and just sort of got you a bit more into the project, I thought it was quite a good combination.
Yeah.
Is there anyone having any questions for Mei? Let's probably give them a moment. Feel free to put your hand up and unmute yourself. Okay, Rosalie's just saying like she can't wait to start. I think, yeah, it's great, and also thanks for sharing like the toolkit in general. I think that gives a bit of a better overview what's gonna happen. Oh, hold on, there was actually someone having a I know that was just because you asked like for the inputs and outputs. No questions, nothing? Well, May, I just like wondered, like for your PhD, so maybe that's just me like asking questions. How did you sort of find all these people? Like you're also collaborating with all the technologists. Are these technologists sort of based in at Queen Mary, or because I know like Queen Mary's got quite a tech sort of base?
Actually, I haven't collaborated much with technologists,
Yeah.
but my PhD colleagues, they are all in the area of the interactive technology. But I mainly collaborated with textile designers and fashion designers, and mostly from RCA last year, and it was from my supervisor's connection.
Okay, and sort of did she approach them then for you in a way, and you just got the connection sort of happening then?
Yeah.
So I think that's always quite interesting for the students sort of to know, you know, how to sort of set up these relationships and how you sort of get there. And were you quite clear after your MA directly that you wanted to do a PhD, or?
Yeah. Like while I was doing the MA, I just know that we can actually achieve some electronic functions on textiles, and I feel this is amazing. Then that's why I decided to do the PhD.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks super interactive and quite sort of engaging for people sort of to get in, and that's what I find like actually super interesting and also quite valuable in that sense that it's not, as said, like I'd always find a bit tricky if it's only like sort of LEDs within electronics, that there's more like an interactivity that you can sort of do, and that you can also take that data and actually put it forward and do something different with it. So it's always quite nice to see the possibilities.
Yeah.
Okay. Are there any more questions? And just like promoting the workshop again. So we've got mainly like sort of spaces now for the 23rd and 24th. So 21st and 22nd is full now. So it would be good if you guys sort of wanted to do the workshop. And as said, you don't need to be working within electronics and or e-textiles within your work, but it might just be like a teaser to sort of, you know, to get you sort of interested into that area, or like sort of like get the first touch points with it that might be quite helpful for later on after Chelsea, that you've already experimented with it and you've got a sort of like a basic knowledge around e-textiles, because they're coming up, this is coming up more and more, and it will be involved in within the industry also more and more. Also, if you're looking into sportswear, there's a lot happening. So yeah, just as in like general, this is an offer for you to sort of get basic knowledge around e-textiles. So email me. I did receive a couple of more emails just during this talk for students to join. So feel free. There's more, like there are more spaces on the 23rd and 24th. And then probably also may get more questions. Okay.
Maybe we can separate into two groups, like the same number of people.
Yes, this is what I'm trying to achieve. Like, so sort of like waiting for another this week until I've got like sort of the last numbers. But I'm hoping that now after the talk it's a bit more clear what's going on, and then that might be helpful. Yeah. Sure. All right. Okay. If there are no more questions, then we'll just close it here. What should you bring to the workshop? I think, is it computer? You want them to bring their computer, right?
Yeah, computer. And if they have MacBook, that's the best choice. And also to bring some materials, the design materials. Like everything could be useful. Even the key ring or different type of fabrics. Anything you want to bring, just bring to here. And it's a hands-on workshop. You can create anything from just the materials you have. And also, yeah, and also bring some tools like scissors and needles. Yeah.
Okay. Any more questions? Anything else? It's pretty quiet this morning. Okay. Well then, thanks, Mei. Thanks so much for the inspiring talk. And yeah, so as said, please sign up for the workshop.